We're announcing a new partnership with you and partnership with a number of other employers and Gen AI leaders in this state, but I'm very grateful and humbled by the opportunity to be here with you. I want to thank Audrey in particular. For those of you who don't know, Audrey is a big deal. Audrey is one of the world's leaders in this space, and Audrey has been foundational in terms of establishing a framework of expectation that allowed us to dream big and be bold in terms of what we are announcing today and what we're sharing with you. I want to thank Tino for his stewardship and leadership, for being there in the beginning and having our back at Carnegie in partnership with the McGruin Institute and others and a number of other philanthropic partners that helped establish the platform, Engaged California, that Tino was referencing. I want to thank Tokes for his leadership in stepping up. There's not a Secretary of Transportation in the United States of America, by definition, doing more with Gen AI than his agency, period, full stop. Nothing is happening in the United States of America at the scale and scope that is happening here in the state of California. So I appreciate, Mr. Secretary, your leadership. And as Nick laid out, his leadership in his former role at the Department of Tax and Fee Administration, and now running government operations, and now responsible for a larger portfolio of agencies and department heads. I'd be remiss, and I'll get to my comments, but I want to also just acknowledge Amy Tong, who has been our principal leader she's brought fans with her on all of this, and it is stitching together all of these pieces. And I say stitching together because, candidly, this is hard to communicate for many of us. It's hard to disseminate for the media, and it's hard to distill the essence for the public. I could have easily come in here with sunglasses and, chainsaws, you know where I'm going, and gotten your attention. I could regale you and give you stories about how we're tearing things down. And we can celebrate the conflict and the energy, and that would run with the news, and people feel like, well, at least they're doing something. And people would say, well, they seem to be taking action. Government is bloated. It's not effective. It's not efficient. It's not engaged. We want to shake the machine. And that's a pretty effective communication strategy. There's no doubt about it. I was sitting literally on Sunday, front court of my 9-year-old's basketball game, and a father up to me said, Governor, I didn't want to talk politics. It was the kids' halftime. He goes, but, is there something, wouldn't it be good if the blue states would come together and do a Doge? A Doge for blue states. I know. And I was trying to explain. I said, what do you mean? I said, no, let me explain. He goes, no. What is it? I said, well, we have been. He goes, well, you really should do that. I said, no, we have been. He goes, I really encourage you to do this. And I started explaining what we were doing, and his eyes glazed over. He wants to see the chainsaw. He wants the sunglasses. He wants the theatrics, the performative side of this. He wants the friction. He wants the protests, because then it's a proof point of the concept. Without that, he struggles, and without that, we have struggled to communicate this. Let me give you a proof point. The announcement we're making today was done in partnership with state workers and employees. They're celebrating it because we're not doing things to them, we're doing things with them. SEIU 1000, one of the largest bargaining units in the state of California, they helped us design this. That's the difference to our approach. And by the way, it's an approach we began not in response to Doge. When we got here 6 years ago, one of my first acts was to remind people that I wrote a book on this subject matter. I'm not here to promote it, but you can buy it. The best way to buy it is in bulk. Citizenville, how to take the town square digital and reinvent government. And it was inspired by the original Doge back when I was very engaged as a county supervisor with then former Vice President Al Gore and the work they did on reinvent government. And it inspired me. I remember Al Gore working with me as a candidate, and we did something called Great Cities, Great Ideas, and it was really about taking best practices, and we did a white paper on this. And I brought that in some of the work I did in the county of San Francisco, and efficiency plans, and customer service plans, and strategic plans, and focusing on outcomes. As Lieutenant Governor, I put this book together, my thoughts, as it relates to platform thinking, not machine thinking. I was inspired by this guy, David Kettle, who wrote a piece, which to this day is perhaps the best piece about government. He said, government is nothing more than a vending machine. You vote, we decide. And you get limited choices: police, fire, healthcare, education. If you don't like the machine, you shake the machine, you kick the machine. And his argument was government needs to be a platform thinking, and really radically changed my approach to the way I thought about government. Effective, efficient, more engaged government. Not you vote, I decide. Two-way conversations. So this engaged.ca.gov platform we've created, first of its kind in the country, inspired by the work in Taiwan, is about engaging you, particularly here in LA, as it relates to the wildfire recovery. And it's a deliberative process. It's a process, by the way, that over the course of just the last few months has now received over 7,400 individuals that want to participate in it. We have a 28% conversion rate to people that signed up, to people that are participating in it. Industry standards about 5%, and it's proving that people do want to be engaged between elections. And they don't all want to be engaged in a town hall or lining up with other voices, because some people are just a little more timid. Some people want more choice as it relates to how they engage in deliberative process. So Engaged California is a process that continues to unfold, and a process that will conclude in about 5 to 6 weeks. And it's a process that's already proven its success. We have engaged thousands of people. They have engaged each other, and now they'll be in the final phase of a deliberative process to build consensus around what they want to see as it relates to the recovery in Altadena and Palisades. But that's one component part. The broader part is the introduction of generative AI and doing it at scale to solve some of the most vexing problems in this state. And we went through a process where we were able to do this because we changed our procurement process years and years ago, something called RFI2, which is just a fancy way of saying innovation ideas, the two, request for innovative ideas. And it's a sandbox. Rather than going through a long process, as Tokes was describing, that takes years and years and years, an RFI, RFQ, RFP, request for proposals, lobbyists getting involved, and people, frankly, protecting incumbency. We created a sandbox to iterate, and people are able to iterate in real time. That's what led to nation-leading technology in firefighting. We announced all that a couple days ago. People always say, well, you need to do more in technology in firefighting. Well, people travel the world to see California's leadership as it relates to the introduction of artificial intelligence and what we're doing as it relates to real-time monitoring and predictive analysis through TechnoSilva and other partners that we have in the space. So we're taking that same mindset in the RFI2 frame into the Gen AI space. Yes, aided by another executive order, but now it's happening. And it's happening at a scale, again, not happening in any other state in the country. And what Nick just referenced is a component part, and I'll close on this. That now we're also engaging in this sandbox with all kinds of AI partners. It's piloted just in these 8 departments. It will spread out more broadly, where everybody's in, where Gemini is in, which is Google, where AWS and Amazon is in, where the folks at OpenAI are in, and others, and employees can start to iterate and choose what they want, learn how these technologies can aid and advance their work to make them more productive, to make them happier, and to provide more choice and more voice for customers, end users, taxpayers in the state. And so that is an exciting space that is a preview into the future that is taking place and shape here first in the state of California. So we talk about this as the 3 E's. E3, we can call it, as it relates to being more efficient, yes, more engaged, and more effective, because at the end of the day, it's about outcome, and it's about results. And so across the spectrum, That's our framework. That's our mindset. We've been at this for years and years and years, billions and billions of dollars of savings, partnerships that have led the nation